All right, Schoolyard Sports fans, let's continue episode 230 by welcoming in college basketball star JOSON SANON. Now, JOSON averaged 12 points a game at Arizona State last year, but this year, be taking his talents to St. John's to help the Red Storm and Rick Pitino make another run at championships. JOSON, thank you and welcome to Schoolyard Sports.
It's good. Pleasure to be on here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on here, especially getting a player perspective. Always good to talk about college basketball.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what went into your process last season? You had a great year at Arizona State as a freshman. Instead of going to the draft, instead of going back to ASU, you decided to go into the portal. And how quick of a process was it for you to land at St. John's?
Soon the portal started happening. St. John's hit my agent up, and I basically felt like it was the right spot for me, and I just went with it.
Yeah, St. John's and Rick Pitino, they built their identity last season on, let's say, consistency on defense, but not so much with three-point shooting and playmaking. What can you do to contribute to getting back to that great defense, but also helping out in the department on the offense side of the ball, getting better three-point shooting and playmaking?
As everybody knows, I'm a great three-point shooter, great scorer. So I basically got the offensive stuff down, and I basically call myself a two-way. So I'll bring some defense to the table, and I got to be more vocal in defense and just help my teams out on defense.
Yeah, like you said, being vocal. I think Coach Pitino really respects somebody who can be vocal on the court. He's also very vocal and demanding himself. So what's a big adjustment playing for a coach who's so demanding, and have you done so far under this new system?
I think the biggest adjustment is just me being more vocal on the court. And, he gets on me on that. And I take that and just work on it and practice and stuff like that. And, I think that's pretty much it. And defense, that's pretty much it.
I want to go a little off the court right here. What's been the biggest off the court adjustment? I know you're from the East Coast, but then you went to Arizona State and now you're back on the East Coast. What's been that biggest off court difference of being at St. John's?
I don't really think there's any off the court adjustment. It's just because I'm from Boston, it's not really that far from it. So I'm already familiar about what's the lifestyle around here in New York. So it's just, yeah.
Love it. Yeah. College basketball landscape is changing. I love NIL. I think the players, especially, you would love NIL. So what would you say is your favorite brand deal you've got? And then, how many do you have, if you want to let the fans know?
My favorite one is Adidas. I rep Adidas. And it's just they help you build your own brand and just guide you to being the best player you are, to become a leader.
Definitely, yeah. NIL, great changing landscape. You've got a great brand deal already with Adidas and St. John's, Adidas school. You love to see it.
Yeah, that's valid for sure.
So you played in the Big 12 last year, a big, tough conference where you go up against national championship caliber teams like Houston, Iowa State, Kansas, a lot of great players. But the Big East isn't too shabby either. So what do you think will be the biggest difference competing in such a great conference like the Big 12 and now the Big East?
I feel like the environment in the Big East is more like the fans more involved, stuff like that. And I just feel like it's a little bit more physical maybe, because that's what I'm hearing from my coaches and stuff. It's just everybody saying it's a different game in the Big East. So I'm just preparing myself to be in stronger and fit or conditioning, little stuff like that.
When I think of the Big East, I think of kind of the Mecca. And when I think of the Mecca, I think of schools like St. John's. You guys play at Madison Square Garden, which is one of the biggest venues in the world. Was that something you were excited for when you came to St. John's? And how excited are you to play on the biggest stage in the world for basketball in Madison Square Garden, night in, night out?
I'm super excited because, the environment, St. John's fans, I'm just already knowing it's going to be packed and pressure is on for real.
JOSON, I really appreciate this interview. Wish you and St. John's such a great time this season. Hope you guys do well on the court. Appreciate this interview.
Thank you.